Last time on Wandering Monster, Odd and Strange Encounters, our adventurers broke into a local bookstore where a terrible and grisly arcane murder had taken place. As the moon shone bright overhead, a portal to the Stygian library opened, and our intrepid adventurers entered the forbidden liminal space. Once within, our party was waylaid by strange spider creatures. Unable to make peace, they threw insults at each other, and a battle broke out quickly. Ripping victory from the teeth of defeat, the party journeyed deeper into the library, encountering shelves upon shelves of untold knowledge and the strange and secretive librarians within. What will happen next? Find out now on Wandering Monster, Odd and Strange Encounters. Roll initiative!
The gears on the wall next to you are constantly grinding. They seem to be well lubricated, but you can still hear the overlapping sounds of metal upon metal. There's a little bit of grease that looks like it's kind of dripped down through it with metal shavings, indicating that these have been clanking for some time. The cloche domes full of the adult human skeletons still stand there, suspended in air with vacant eye sockets staring at all of you. Bookshelves and bookcases line the left wall. This whole place is vastly different than the warm, humid boiler rooms that you had come from. Instead, you kind of get this odd feeling of lots of scientific discovery and just cold indifference. So you are on the second level of the Stygian library as it kind of goes infinitely in that space between worlds. What is your next move as you are still hunting for the infernal gates? Do you continue adventuring on this floor, or do you go deeper?
Deeper, everyone. We want to keep moving along here. Check out what's behind door number 3.
I mean, this room is very cozy, but I would be into going deeper.
I mean, we can hang out here. We can like pull up a beanbag chair, you know.
Do you have a beanbag chair?
No, but I was hoping you did. Someone should. Oh.
Yeah, somebody really should have a beanbag chair. That sounds like it'd be really comfortable. I mean, it'd be good for my back too. Either way, no. I mean, we should probably move on.
So it takes about 10 minutes to just kind of navigate this space, finding the staircase that takes you even deeper into this place. As you begin to descend down the staircase, you kind of have this pop in your ears as if the pressure has been changing as you're going through the levels of this. Each of these levels having their own unique feeling and almost atmosphere to them. Although you can't shake the feeling of being watched by that strange figure that disappeared behind one of those bookcases, though you're certain you can't see anyone as you look around. I would like each of you to roll me a d20 and just shout them out when you roll it.
10.
7.
Also 7.
Mute.
A third 7.
If that isn't a sign.
I feel left out. I rolled an 11.
Well, not everybody could be a cool kid. Sorry.
I guess.
Okay.
Way to be cooler than me, Kevin.
I do what I can.
You can feel free to have some witty banter as the great Stygian library starts to assemble itself. It takes a few moments, and you can hear different sounds as you descend this staircase.
So no beanbag chair, huh?
What kind of sounds?
It sounds like great gears grinding in the distance, almost like a church bell, or the sounds of tracks and shipping areas being moved in a great harbor. It almost sounds like millions of calendars flapping all at once. That's my GM saying of it takes a few seconds, as there are multiple of these
Oh, got it.
random encounter tables and floors, and this is procedurally generated. So we are
You guys
almost.
don't think that little guy's following us, right?
I'm right here.
No, not you. The little robed guy.
Abernathy, I think what we have to remember is that our friend here, Scrag, is delightfully voracious. If correct me if I'm wrong, Scrag, but lizard man culture revolves around the primal needs of the citizens of that culture. Hunger being paramount amongst those needs. So if the little one is following us, that would lead to a scrumdiddly-dumptious even meal for Scrag.
But
Now, a normal human worm baby, would never stoop to eating another humanoid, no matter how full of delicious fluid and organs they are.
Fluids, normal. Got it. Not.
yeah.
Yeah, that sounds practical.
I will remind you, I'm a penitent. I will not be eating the little person or the one in the robe.
Thanks for clarifying that. Now I feel safe that I won't be eaten.
That is very kind.
Okay. So as you descend, you find yourself in a space that you wouldn't necessarily expect, having come from an industrial area to a kind of cold, clinical, scientific area. Instead, you find yourself in what looks to be like a stained glass window-lined chapel. And possibly, light is pouring through these beautiful mosaic windows that show these interesting scenes relating to scholastic events. You see figures and great tomes. In the distance, there is an altar of which you see just the edge of a book laid upon it with something glittering next to it. You have a sense of this place being hollowed, maybe not so much on an axis of law versus chaos, but as it is knowledge versus ignorance, the other alignment that helps the universe go round. What are some of these scenes that you see on the stained glass window, and what are their significance?
I don't know why my brain's going to a backyard barbecue. Just stained glass window. Just someone's flipping a burger.
I'm just disturbed by how many lizard people are being slaughtered in these. I mean, I know that we are not learned people, but I was not aware that our actual destruction was a fight against ignorance. I'm joining this war on the side of ignorance, frankly.
Oh, you guys are looking at the windows. I was looking at, he kind of points up at a corner of the library that's just filled with cobwebs. I was just looking at those fascinating structures of these cobwebs. They are beautiful, but it does make me worry that we'll find more of those, what did I call them? What did I drow. No, driders.
So you see that beyond the altar, on to the left and to the right of the space, are large closed doors made of look like oak. There are pews that are lined up on the sides of the space, and the place is empty. And as you're kind of talking to one another, your voice echoes, but it also seems to be swallowed by the corners of the space. Like the acoustics just kind of bounce things around, but when the sound gets to the corners, it's just consumed The place, as you're kind of standing here, just feels disorienting, like there's a slight pressure in your skull. What do you do here?
Cover my nose and blow out to try to equalize the pressure. That's an obvious thing.
I mean, you guys feel that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's very uncomfortable.
If you yawn, it'll help. That's what I learned in my travels. See, yeah, feels better, right? Ears no longer swelling.
Yeah.
I have yawned. I am capable of yawning, and I have done so, and I do in fact feel better. Thank you.
That does not sound like a normal human yawn. Or
Nope,
yawn.
totally normal human yawn.
I don't know. It sounded normal to me, but
Yeah, it sounded a little lungless.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure that's fine. I don't think we
Yeah.
need to worry about that. Yeah.
no, perfectly normal.
Yeah. Should we try to figure out what's doing that?
What the noise? He's in the robes. Claimed it was a yawn.
No. The headache-inducing pressure.
Yeah.
Or exit the room if we can't figure out what. I have very delicate eardrums, you know.
Can how do we investigate? Do we roll for like searching the room for like, I don't know, pollen, allergens?
I could sniff it out.
And that hits the spirit of old school role playing, is that you're not really rolling so much unless you want to specifically declare that you are searching like for traps or other things. I will roll a die for you and hold that as kind of a secret. Otherwise, it is very much I poke the thing. Like you said, I smell the air. And if you have a character that automatically detects secret doors without even declaring it, that is something I also would search for you to begin with. But,
Excellent. Then I'm going to give it a good sniff.
so the thing that you smell is, well, paper. And beyond that, you smell incense. Like it hasn't been burned here in quite some time. Maybe there hasn't been worship in general, or maybe people are avoid the space, or maybe it's a forgotten space between floors. But you don't smell the odor of recently trafficked people.
Yeah, I think first anything in here in a long time.
Don't know if I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
You said.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say. You said that there was a book.
Yeah, like
In the center of the room.
On the altar that's kind of towards the back of this chapel. It definitely seems like there's a conspicuous shaft of prismatic light coming from the mosaic of, well, you said lizard people being slaughtered for some type of great barbecue next to a scene of scholars like very furiously studying and scribbling in tomes.
Should we go look at the book?
I mean, be
No.
my guest.
The demon devil, Satan, told us that this is a library. The asphyxiation library, if I remember correctly. And from my knowledge of libraries, which I have extensive knowledge as a human, I believe that you're supposed to borrow books.
Yeah.
Ergo, it might be in our benefit to go and look at the book, making us seem as though we are supposed to be here. I nominate Jiles.
Well,
Wait, what? Oh.
I'm a thief.
Yes, but Jiles is a what's your title again?
Clairvoyant, right? No, medium.
Jiles the Bland, apprentice in Ward 2. Edorius the Blue, master of the mystical arts, wielder of powers known and unknown, co-founder of the Council of Five, the mightiest wizards in all land. Must I say this every time?
Yes,
Yeah.
but you're just explaining why you're disqualified to read the book.
Exactly. You are an apprentice of the arcane arts. You'll understand knowledge better than any of us.
You'll
I
know
mean,
any secret words you have to say
and-
before you open
and-
it, like Klato Veratanicto.
And I'll check for
And
traps
Scrag.
and probably tell you.
Scrag, you may be a thief, but you've already stated that you're on the side of ignorance.
I am. I'll at least check for traps for him, though, so we don't get him snapped up or exploded.
And I'll nudge him from behind.
All right. So you are searching for traps where? And what are you...
Around the base of where the pedestal the book is on.
Okay, so the pedestal itself, not the book itself, correct?
Correct. Ooh.
Okay. And you start poking around. And also, what are you doing as you're searching?
So I'm a lizard, so much like geologists, I just lick everything to see if it tastes like it's explosive or dangerous in some way.
Okay. That's helpful because I use what you tell me plus what I roll for your thief skill to kind of delineate what you might find. So you lick the plinth and you get a sense of, well, it kind of makes you angry. So you said that you were wanting to be more on the side of ignorance, or was that yes?
Yes, I'm joining the war on that side. Yes.
Your tongue kind of sizzles a bit as you detect knowledge. It's not something that's inherently dangerous. It's more of how you use it. So this thing that the altar doesn't seem dangerous, although, again, knowledge is a weapon if used, well, to harm. Other than that, you don't see any tripwires, poison darts, or anything else. So you feel pretty confident, safe.
Yeah, it's gross, but it's fine.
Oh, okay. And Jiles will hesitantly walk towards the plinth and towards the book.
As you begin to walk up to the book, you hear music. You hear something that sounds like stringed instruments beginning to swell, maybe with a little bit of a rising sense of bass, like brass instruments. It's almost like a low hum in your ears as you approach the book.
Is it a ska band?
It's a ska band, isn't it?
Please, can it be a
It is
Scotland?
now. It begins to cut up tempo, and you definitely have a desire to skank.
Well, in that vein, I'm going to go to the book and pick it up.
Yeah.
Ah, nice. So when you pick it up, the podium creaks and groans for a second, as if it is reluctant to give up this book. And it feels heavy in your hands. The leather on it is embossed with tons of very intricate designs. Like it almost seems like various scenes again of knowledge, people studying at desks, people going into the world and getting knowledge. There's a gem embedded into the center of the cover, and you see that the sides of the pages are gilded. The book has a clasp that is keeping it shut. As you are holding it, that music swells even louder in your ears.
Anybody else hear this? As I'm holding the book and just having it just no.
I'm trying not
No
to.
one else hears it.
No.
Fantastic.
Hear what?
Mighty boss tones if I had to pick one. Is the clasp over it is there like a lock mechanism on it? Or is it just
It looks like to be like a simple clasp.
Well, I've come this far. I'll open it up.
So the impressions that you got were right as you opened it. This book holds a lot of power to it, and that was the one Money Boston's reference I should have made earlier, but I was slow on the draw because I was so worried about using that reference incorrectly. So later I'll have to tone by using some squirrel nut zippers and whatnot. Well, that's more West Coast swing. But anywho, same era when they all came out.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see that this book is, maybe this book was calling to you? You can see that this is a spell book. Like, this is a real spell book, and there are spells in here. Now, you'll need to take some time deciphering this, because each magic user, each wizard, kind of writes their spell book in different ways, and so you need to really take time to read magic and research this. But you can memorize the spells. You can tell from here that there are at least 5 spells in here that you can add to your spell book if you don't claim this outright as your own.
What could possibly go wrong if I was to take this book, put it in my satchel, and learn it later?
Well, keep in mind that next to it, there was a shiny thing that looks to be like a pen completely covered in gold filigree. There seems to be a figure embossed on this pen. What do they look like, and how does it relate to the book that you just acquired?
Oh, if I had to say, it was had the same coloring as the gilding on the side of the book. A wood tone to it that kind of resembled the leather on the book, and at the end of it had the gem, smaller, but basically it looked like the same gem that was on the cover of the spell book as well.
So this is also a valuable artifact. You could tell that this thing is worth at least 500 silver or 50 gold.
I'm gonna look back at everyone else, and as I'm holding the book, listening to the music swell in my head, this pen looks like it goes with this book.
Why are you shouting?
Yeah, we're right here.
It's hard to explain. Anyways. Boss tones. Oh, so many. This looks expensive. This looks valuable. Should we take them both?
Yeah, fucking steal it. Why is this a question?
This is a library. We don't steal. There should be a little card in the back that we'll just
throw the
stamp,
card.
and we throw that in the slot, and then you'll bring it back later. Wink.
Wink. Do you say wink when you wink? Are you supposed to say wink when you wink?
Look, this will eventually be an audience meeting and whatever that means. So let's just move on. Wink.
Wink. Got it. All right. So I'll take the book and I will put it into my my satchel, and I will take
Did you
the
fill
pen.
out the card?
I'll fill out the card. Don't. Yeah. Okay. I take the book out.
The card.
I'm gonna fill out the card.
He's
I
even
open
got
up
a
the
pen.
back cover. I'll open up the back cover and look for the card to fill it out, and I will use said pen to fill out.
Is there a card in the back, Ian?
Yeah.
There is not. This seems to be like it wasn't maybe meant to be circulated, or maybe it was a private book.
Oh,
So that means free, right? Yeah.
No card, no foul. All right. Pen, book, satchel. Rock and roll.
All right. The music gets quieter.
Good. It was starting to give me a headache. We should probably pick a door and go.
So when you turn and you look, you see that there are the 2 doors at the end of the other side of this part of the chapel. Like, imagine the chapel was kind of like a T shape. And the altar was at the kind of vertex, the intersection, the lines of the T. And when you look back to where you came from, you're sure you came through one door, but now you see there are 2 doors.
That wasn't like that when we got here.
You're having a very hard time remembering which way is north. Where are you going to be going next? What door are you thinking about? The pressure in your skulls is beginning to increase now.
Yeah,
no matter
it's
yawning.
time to. Well, hey, knowledge guys, which door?
That one.
Perfect.
Well, which way does the door open? Because arguably the door would block the other door from our line of sight. So if it opens this way, then we clearly came in the right door. But if it opens the other way, then we came in the left door. Since we didn't see the other door, right?
That makes sense. I thought you were going to go with bathroom doors don't open outward. And that's a joke only I get. That's
I
fine.
also get it, but are we trying to find a bathroom?
I don't know if my character. Well, I don't know if my character has ever peed.
What?
We previously drank a lot.
Oh,
It's
I thought you meant in your life. I
That's
didn't.
what I thought too. It's like, how have you never?
I just
it's
sweat
canon.
a lot. It
It's
stinks
canon
literally
that
bad.
he pees. All right.
So as you're standing here trying to figure out where to go, the door that's to the right of the altar, you hear something pressing against the door. Like it's a... Imagine someone took a curtain and they just kind of flapped a curtain against a door. Or maybe a towel.
Not that door?
Are we wanting to go somewhere new or somewhere we've been?
somewhere
Because
new. Need to press forward.
That
So-
dude in the robe is still back there. We don't want to go back that way. He creeps
Okay.
me out.
So dude in the robe might be on the other side of the door because of the sound of a curtain that we're hearing. If he's following us, and you're not hungry,
I
so
didn't say I'm not hungry. I said that I am penitent.
okay, my
But
bad.
I mean, if he happened to die of natural causes, I would probably indulge.
So while we open the door and yell surprise, see if that startles him to death.
I like this.
I'm not telling you how to do it.
Okay. I would
Maybe I'll
like.
just look the other way.
Can we open the door and yell surprise? No
Who's
objections.
Who's opening the door and who's yelling?
I'll yell surprise.
I'll open the door.
What are the 2 of you who are not participating in this plan doing? Are you
I'm averting
hiding?
my eyes so that I can be surprised when I find the body.
Okay.
I'm going to stand as far back as I possibly can.
Okay. So you fling open the door and give me your best surprise.
Surprise!
So glad I asked.
Very
So
good.
Yeah.
there is not a little figure in a robe, but instead there is a hand-sized moth that was just fluttering against the door, and it kind of just flutters just into the room.
I catch it.
With what, your hands or with an object?
My hand.
So it is about the size of a normal human hand, which you have 2 of. You see
do.
that it has, an orange-brown body, and on the tips of its wings, it has almost like little scales, like flakes of copper or rust along it. It has 2 antennae that come off from its head, big, furry, and it has 2 big black eyes that seem to be looking up at you with, well, you're not sure if a moth could have curiosity or interest, but it kind of looks at you and it kind of croons its head back and forth, almost much like a bird would.
Something up with that moth.
I think I should take a closer look over here
Are you going to eat
in
that
the
moth?
shadows. I wouldn't.
He's gonna.
Giles, quick question, friend.
Yes.
Just for our friends, because they don't understand us humans.
Right, us humans.
We don't eat moths.
Not typically, no.
I see.
But I mean, certain regions have certain diets. And
I'm more likely to eat a moth than you are. Just saying.
I mean, nobody's going to judge you if you do. No one's going to judge you if you share your moth.
Scrag, would you like part of this moth?
I don't know. There's something up with this moth.
As you are talking about the moth, and like how you're going to eat it, it begins to just very calmly just walk up your arm, stopping a few seconds to sniff, and it keeps crawling up your arm towards your shoulder.
Did you know that bats subsist on a huge diet of...
Oh, now we heard it.
Whoa.
I will fight you.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
John, I don't think God wants you to eat that moth.
Yeah,
God does want you to wear a hat.
that's true.
That was
wild.
startling.
Yeah.
As you were talking about bats, it crawls up into your shoulder, tickles the side of your very human neck with its antennae, and then it kind of crawls towards your back.
Well, now I like this moth, and this moth is my friend. No one is eating the moth.
Okay. Yeah.
No one here was talking about it.
Abernathy.
I wasn't gonna.
Abernathy.
My eyes are down here.
Abernathy.
Thank you.
It then kind of crawls off of your shoulder, and well, you have your like a backpack, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It just kind of crawls into your backpack, out of sight.
It's fair.
Now, do you keep your shield you have both your hands free, or do you keep your shield like strapped on your back? Do you have are you holding this whole time?
I think it's a targe, so it's kind of just strapped to one of my arms.
Oh, okay. So the moth crawls inside of your backpack, Scarson, and almost like as if, hearing that everyone's going to be trying to fight to eat it, and you've offered to protect it, it slips in there, making itself very comfortable amongst your belongings. So the rest of you kind of seeing this odd exchange happen. You're averting your eyes there, Scrax, and I guess you were surprised in a way that it wasn't something more horrible than that. And even Girthwood seems a little bit, surprised, kind of anticipating that there would have been some type of enemy, and been looking very kind of disappointed there wasn't something for him to lodge his axe into. You feel like the longer you're lingering here, the more kind of disoriented you're getting. Maybe you're feeling a little bit like a vertigo, and like you're kind of having a propensity to lean, and your sense of direction is getting steadily more confused. You can try to pick a door and press on. Maybe one of them might take you back a level. One of them might take you down a level. You're
Can
not
I
sure.
make an observation, guys? Folks, I think that, I don't know about you guys, but I've been having a much rougher time figuring out or getting my bearings since we picked up that book.
It was kind of fuzzy when we walked in here. When I got closer to the book, I had music almost blaring in my ears, but then it kind of died down when I picked up the book.
You think that the book's okay? I mean, I never trust a book. I'm just saying.
Oh.
I've never met one I liked.
Oh, the greedy wizard that has just came up on a bunch of spells thinks that the book should be okay.
All right.
Okay.
So was it a room that the moth was in, or was it just like a closet? What?
When you look down it, it looks to be, well, roll me a d6.
Okay. 5.
It looks like it is more chapel space, like it is a cloister, or you see like vestments, like there are kinds of robes hanging on hooks from your kind of view, and more wood paneling. You see bookcases in the distance.
Well, that's one option. Should we check these other doors and see where we want to go, or?
I don't know. The moth was delightful. We could see what else is in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Lead
There
the way.
might be more delightful things to surprise us.
Or more things that can eat our clothing. Eyeballs the player that's no longer here.
Mm-hmm.
Are you wanting to go into that space?
Yes.
Okay. So when you enter into this space, you see that there are like robes hanging on like wooden pegs. You see that there are bookshelves with lots of books on them, lots of shelves with nothing on it but piles of dust or something on it, and like kind of little piles. And it kind of extends, like you have a little bit of, imagine like you just came from a space that was a T, and now you are kind of going into another T-shaped spot where you have the short end of the top of the T and a length extending down the middle of it. So it looks like you kind of have changing area on your right with more bookcases and those empty bookshelves on your left, and the extension of more wood paneled hallway with bookshelves on either side. You see that where all these robes are hanging and along the wall, there are more of those friendly little fuzzy moths. They're just kind of lazily hanging, some of them flittering their wings. You see that there are, each of you roll me a d4.
Mm-hmm. Here it is.
3.
4.
4.
All right. So you see that there are 11 of these moths. And as you kind of enter in this space, one begins to kind of flitter and flutter towards you, Abernathy.
No, I don't want you eating my clothes like you ate the robes, and your friend's gonna eat my friends. I swat at it with what do I have?
But let me make one clarification before you swat. The robes that are hanging do not seem to be moth-eaten at all.
Okay. All right. Still not like nope, don't like that. Don't like flying thing. Don't like not feathers. Don't like the look. If you get near me, then the next thing I know, there's gonna be 2 little identical twins that sing songs around me, and I don't need this in my life.
So you're swatting this moth that's coming towards you?
You know, like a general shoo. Go on, get.
Okay. Roll me an attack roll. I want to see if you accidentally smack the moth.
Moth
That's
aside.
going to be dex because it's going to be a light movement. So that's +3.
So 3 + 3 is 6.
All right. So you just lazily swat at it and it goes back to the wall. Another one kind of detaches and it flutters towards you, Jiles.
And it just did on camera too. Did you see that?
Yeah.
That was amazing. Yes.
Yeah. I'll do the same as Abernathy, just kind of lazily swat it or push the air away.
Roll for attack and see if you accidentally connect with it.
Oh. That's a 19.
So you smack this with your hand, and you send it crashing into the wall. Roll me D2 to see how much damage you do from slapping this poor, innocent, defenseless moth.
Wow.
That's 1 point of damage.
1 point of damage. There's a rustle as if a whole book is being thumbed through at a very violent pace, and you see the wings of all of the moths begin to flutter in sympathy as you've smacked this one moth. All the antennae kind of going from being fuzzy, drooped, to being upright and erect, and it flanges out. The moths launch themselves at all of you. And they get surprise on initiative. And they are going first. There's no noise that it makes other than the sounds of just pages flapping as they mob around you. Each of you are going to be getting a series of moths. Taking a look at your character sheet, first off, we're going to have moths going in my round robin. So that is going to be you first, Abernathy, followed by Scrax, and then Jiles in the rear, and then our 2 NPC'd characters. We will do Skaar and Girthwood. So Abernathy,
Yes.
you have what are in your hands?
Currently we've been just adventuring. I don't think I would have like one of my weapons in my hands immediately. Is this a good time to try? No, it's probably not a good time to try out my new ability because we have classes now.
You can, but that runs a risk of failure. If you're using your new ability,
Yeah.
that outside you'll have 100%. Right now you have a 2 in 6 chance of it working correctly. Sorry, 2 in 6.
Okay, I'm gonna not then. I'm gonna keep that in my back pocket for now. I will take out.
It's not your turn. I just want to know what's in your hands.
Oh, in my hands? No, sorry. My bad. I wouldn't have pulled out a weapon because we haven't been in combat till now. So my hands are free to.
All right. So you are carrying all of your objects in a barrel. You have a lid on that barrel.
I mean, yeah, it's like a barrel backpack kind of a situation. So like, yeah, it's got like a little. It's not like one of those plug type barrels, but it's got a latch.
Okay. So this is a traditional barrel with like metal banding and a latch.
And straps to go around. Like
okay, great.
It's not like a full barrel, but like the kind you put on your desk to put whiskey
That's
in.
perfect. I just needed to check. So a mob of 3 of these moths comes your direction, and they land on your barrel. As they land, they start touching their little antennas, and the first thing you hear is a loud pop sound as the band holding the top part of your barrel is disintegrated, and another moth crawls down and chews the bottom metal ring around your barrel, and your barrel staves splay out, spilling the contents of your entire gear on the floor. The third moth comes by and starts to chew very loudly on your bag of caltrops. And you see that before your eyes, 9 of your 20 caltrops of your first bag are consumed under the touch of the moth. There are 3 moths that are coming your way, Scrax. What were in your hands?
An unlit torch.
All right. I see you have a backpack. How is that closed?
It's tied off.
Okay. But you have a spear and a polearm that are just out and exposed. So the moths move towards the metal parts of your weapons. The first moth moves in and attacks. And well, The three moths move in, trying to touch the bits of your spears. You were kind of also wary of this moth, so you move back and forth, and it pushes them aside, and they don't get a bite on any of your metal. Since you were the moth smacker proper, Jiles, 4 of these moths attached towards you. What do you currently have in your hands?
I have my staff in my hand.
All right, and you have a backpack. How is that closed?
I kind of envision it as like a satchel, like a side satchel, and it's just a flap going over the top.
Okay.
And with like a leather tie.
They move then towards the dagger that is in your belt, and they mob that. And it is gobbled up by the first moth. The other 3 moths furiously beat around you, trying to find anything metal on your clothing or anything to eat. Is there anything else that they might eat of yours that is exposed? Or is it a metal clasp on your backpack?
No. It's just a leather strap that's tied around. Looking through here. The only other metal
if you
thing I
have
see
anything
is
obvious, they're going to move towards the fighters in the group that have more metal. So 2 of the moths then detach and start heading their ways towards Girthwood. Girthwood having a lot of metal. One tries to take a bite at its battle axe, but he shoos it away. It moves in trying to eat his shield and also doesn't. This entire time, there has been a moth that has been rummaging through the items in Skarson's backpack, and it is moved out in the chaos, and it is trying to eat the shield that is attached to his arm, and it dissolves it, eating it. You just watch this beautiful shield on his arm just instantly turn to rust, and it makes happy little sounds as it eats the metal of the shield. So that top of the initiative is going to be with you, Abernathy. You realize that these are rust moths.
All right, so I yell out, "Ah, shit! Rust moths! Rust moths!" And I try to grab some of the caltrops and I throw them away from the group to try and attract the rust moths to go away from us.
Do you throw the half-eaten bag or the full fresh bag?
I start off with the half-eaten one since they're already on that to try and get the moths to go away from me.
Okay. Are you sacrificing both bags right now or just the half bag?
I'm starting with the half bag.
All right. So you jump the half bag out, and the moth that's inside of it tumbles out with it. You see it's trying to eat as many of them. Half of the moths see the metal and they swoop in. So that is going to be 8 of the moths, leaving 4. That's including the one that Scarson has still on his person, menacing your group. You can hear the sounds of crinkling as you watch the metal begin to just fall apart before your very eyes. Next in initiative is you, Scrax.
I'm going to light my torch.
That's a great idea. How are you doing it?
I mean,
With flint and tinder?
Yeah, I'm going to use a flint and tinder.
So when you pull out a piece of metal, you see a nearby moth eye that tinder very hungrily. Roll me a dexterity check.
Okay. So that's a 1.
That's good because you want to roll under or
right.
equal on a d20.
Oh my gosh.
So you maxfully, to the maximum, got your flint out, flicked them off in the process, and lit your torch on fire. The moths shriek in both horror and delight at the flame that you are wielding. They will begin to mob the torch. The other moths that were disengaged because of the not enough caltrops to feed them are beginning to hover towards your torch. Did you put away your flint and steel?
Yes.
Okay.
It's in my pocket.
Jiles, you see caltrops being eaten up hungrily, torch attracting the other moths. What do you do?
Have the moths that were swarming me gone towards the torch?
2 of them went down to eat on the caltrops, and the other one went to the torch. Or you had, and then you had correct, yeah.
Well, I'm trying to see if I have anything in my inventory that I could use to follow Abernathy's lead, but I don't want to get rid of anything I have, actually. Shit, I don't know what to do. I could just swat at one of the moths with the staff, but I don't think that would be a smart move. But
Do you have a torch?
I don't.
No, this is not to tell you what to do, but I think it's important as a important kind of unlearning for people who are used to more modern D&D. There's an expectation whenever you're in a counter, you always have to fight through it and kill everything. Old school also encourages discretion is the better part of valor, and there is no penalty to fleeing either. And that's actually something that helps you keep alive in old school playing, is that it's not always equal threat to character level. So sometimes you're going to run into something that is of lethal level to you. That's not really metagaming what you're doing here, just letting you know that is an option.
Okay. I'm going to
do what your character would naturally do, wanting to survive or
he's going to want to survive, so he's going to dip out and go through the door that they just came through.
Okay, back to the chapel. So you dip there, so you see that there is, and you're kind of, again, having that sense of just overwhelming confusion. You cannot remember which door you came in from, the one that's across from you or the one that's kind of down the hall where there's 2 more doors. You have no idea where you came in from.
I would probably go with the closest door then.
All right. Roll me, I cannot speak. Odds or evens?
Odds.
Okay. Great. So you open the door and you see this dark beyond, but there is a staircase going downward.
Okay. And
are you descending this normally, or are you fleeing at the top of your speed? The reason I ask is when you are navigating the Stygian library, the library responds to your movement if you are moving slowly versus if you're moving at high speed as you're going between levels. What are you doing?
I would probably try not to draw any attention to myself. So I would probably slowly go towards the door, realize that there's stairs going down, and then try to get everyone else's attention, saying that there's stairs going down.
All right, let's go down. I'm going to toss the torch.
Toss the torch. You're tossing the torch in a library. Making sure I heard that.
To the
What
ground.
could go wrong?
To the ground.
Next to bookshelves full of books.
All right.
No. I'm not telling you. I just want to be very clear what you're doing.
Yes,
That's
I'm going
all.
to toss the torch and start heading down the stairs.
Okay. Are you following Abernathy?
Abernathy would quickly try to gather up what's left of his barrel and belongings. I do have rope that I don't know if I could quickly try to fashion the barrel back together.
That is too complicated to make that
Yeah,
actually work with how
I
this spindles.
I couldn't hurt to ask. All right, so
You can grab an item for each hand, unless you want to spend more time here.
I will spend more time yelling like, wait, hold on a second. And I try to like sling my 50-foot of rope over my shoulder. I grab my sling. You
Okay.
You
They have,
inhaled.
while you're doing this, they have eaten through all the caltrops.
Okay, including the other bag I haven't gotten out yet.
Not yet.
All right, so I believe I also have a torch, right? Or
Yes.
okay, so I would light the torch with the torch, and that way.
Ooh.
Go ahead.
One thing I've noticed that all your items drop unceremoniously on the floor, including one flask of oil. Someone had just thrown a torch on the floor. So you have one round to grab things, as beyond that, that oil is igniting.
Okay.
So you pick the 2 items you want out of your backpack.
Okay. Let me look at my character sheet and figure out which 2 items I want. Oh man.
The best part of this, Bridget, is that as you are going to be accidentally igniting his oil, one of the things that was inside the barrel was a bundle of firewood.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay.
I think he's about to have a new arch nemesis.
Yes, I will destroy you all. Okay, I'm gonna take my sling over the short bow, and I'm also going to take.
To be fair, I'm going to imagine that as a primary weapon, you probably have that on your belt. So I'm just looking at stuff that's purely under the equipment section of your character sheet. So I heard a section of rope. So pick one more item out of that, and then.
Okay. New character sheet has more items, and I have to scroll stuff. Okay, so where are just my items?
It's on your second page under equipment.
Gotcha. I was looking at the wrong page. Oh, caltrops are pretty much gone. Do I want the crowbar? The crowbar could be useful.
Time's a wasting.
I know. Panic. I don't.
Hey, it's not my shit that's on fire.
I know, right? Okay, the practical thing to do is to grab the water skin, so I don't get dehydrated.
Okay, so you have a coil of rope and a water skin, yes?
Yeah.
Then, beyond that, the oil ignites, the firewood ignites. The bookcase immediately next to you, with the robes hanging down, ignites. This room is beginning to engulf in flames. Several of the moths catch on fire, and they flutter furiously around the room, catching more things on fire. Somewhere in the distance, you hear chimes, and you see in the distance of that deep hallway figures in red robes with faces completely obscured, charging in your direction.
I joined the group and run like hell.
Mm-hmm.
I need the 3 of you to roll me D20s.
17.
15.
Blood spatter. 3.
All right. So you flee and you find this terrible sense of vertigo once you leave this chapel. Like your stomach inverts and somersaults, and suddenly you kind of feel the snapping of being back onto kind of cardinal directions, and you have this sense of just intense nausea, but at least you're very aware that you're heading downward and somewhere below the chapel level. You begin to go downward on this spiral staircase. As you are coming up to this landing, you see that you are standing in front of a door that has a lot of mathematical symbols inscribed across its face.
Is there have rhyme or reason to these mathematical symbols, or?
Well, make me an intelligence roll.
All right. So under equal. Oh, yes, that was a 2.
All right, great. And roll me a d20.
That is a 20.
Ooh, okay. Interesting. So that is, very interesting. Okay. So you see that this space, it has a mind-boggling connection. Like there are patterns within the formulae and the symbols. It's indicating something. Like they're all parts of an equation that's wrapping around the door, but it's not quite finished. And you have a feeling that it may continue on the other side of this space.
Okay. Looking back, feeling real bad at the fact that me slapping a moth just kind of ruined everybody's afternoon. I'm going to open up the door.
Like kind of like a chaos theory, isn't it? Butterfly flaps its wing, you punch it, and everything goes to hell. Next thing you know, you've got dinosaurs eating tourists.
One could only hope. Oh, anyways, open up the door.
So when you open this, you see the walls are lined with bookshelves, and they eventually peter off into the distance of this huge volume-esque space. There's a huge machine made of clockwork and steam pumps that hisses and pumps rhythmically. It creaks and clicks and churns. There are multiple gears and dials that seem to be turning like tumblers in a lock, but in front of you in a massive scope. In front of it, there is kind of a strange altar with a greenish black glass and some type of light within that kind of flashes, blinking on and off. You see that in between this space, on multiple plinths between you and this giant machine, are books that are heavily wrapped with thick black chain. All of them are chained except for one in the center that has no chain on it whatsoever.
It would have been
What
nice
do
to
you-
have one of these moths right now to get these chains off these books, right, guys?
We have one.
Yeah, don't we still have one in the party?
Yeah, there's one in the backpack, right?
It had fled off when you lit the torch, and so there's no longer.
Wow, thanks, Jiles.
Well, hold up. If we want, we can rewrite that, and we can say, because the last thing is that ate John's shield. Skarson's shield. Maybe Skarson still wants the moth. Do we want to retain that for him for next week?
Yeah, let's make him keep the moth.
I feel like John would want the moth.
Okay,
Yeah.
then it's chained, or it's not chained. It is zipped up in his, well, not zipped. It is as tightly sealed in his backpack as possible. Let me see if his character sheet actually has something that could possibly contain it, like a sack. It is pretty minimal. What? Do you have a sack?
I have 2 small sacks.
Then sacrifice one of those, because otherwise he would have no way to hold on to it.
I will sack 1 sack.
Sack a sack.
All right, sack
still feel good
a
about
sack.
Exactly. No, that was worst. Don't laugh at that.
So, beyond sacking a sack to sack a moth, what do you do in this very odd space?
Should one of us go read the book?
Not me. Don't look at me. I can't read.
Can I read? I know languages.
They'll say in your lower right corner, if you are literate or not. So Abernathy, you are literate and you know chaotic, which is in your alignment speech, gnomish, common, and halfling.
I'll read a book.
You're gonna go over to the book?
Yeah.
The chained ones or the one unchained one in the center?
I'm gonna go for the easy target. The Unchained one.
Okay. It has a simple kind of red leather exterior with like a bright brass clasp on it. It's pretty thick, probably about 4 to 5 inches thick. Maybe, well, when you're looking at it, maybe it's even more than that.
Okay.
Does this book also play music? And if so, can it just play the Doobie Brothers Unchained Melody over and over again?
Clever, but Abernathy, as you're approaching, you don't hear anything. Now you can say you hear something.
Ah, man, listen to that sick rhythm coming off this book.
Yes, thank you for lying for the bit. I appreciate it.
So good. Bum bum bana. Bum bum buana buana da. Bum bum buana. Yeah.
All right. So you pick up or open the book.
Yeah, I open it up. Yes, that's exactly what I need to know. Bum bum buana buana bua.
So as you unlatch the cover to it, it makes a kind of an odd sound, like a sigh, when you unclasp it, that then turns into a feral growl, and the book launches itself at you, and it flings itself towards your head, closing its cover around you. It's gonna make an attack, a surprise attack, and oh darn, I think this rolled very poorly. So it tries, but yet you having such a small halfling head, it just clamps around your hair, kind of pulling and tugging it just like kind of the marionette that you are, and it seems like it's very furiously trying to get to your skull. You hear the rest of the books that are wrapped in chains begin to bark and growl and thrash against the chains, and they begin to thump very loudly against the podia. So roll for initiative.
Crap.
We'll have one of you roll it, and we'll do round robin from there.
I rolled, but I don't think we want to go with my roll.
Well, you have a +3, so
then it would be 4.
I rolled an
Okay.
18.
Let's go with Bridget's roll.
So your initiative roll is rolled on a d6.
Oh,
So
That's an impressive D6.
yeah. It was my most
Like it.
impressive D6. Okay, I got a 4.
okay. So then that would mean that Scrax, you get to go first. So you see the scene unfold, and this book is fiercely chomping at Abernathy.
I'm going to bite the book.
All right. Go ahead and make your bite attack.
Okay. Oh gosh, where'd you go? It's a 3.
Like you rolled a d20 and you total value.
No,
was
I
3?
kept rolling a D6 because I liked the D6 after rolling it once.
There's a lot of dice switching back and forth, especially when you're using ascending AC and
It didn't get all that
OSD.
much better. It's a 5.
So you try to bite the book, but the book is so fiercely focusing on trying to bite through Abernathy that your bite falls short as a comical snapping of spines and of covers as you're kind of going back and forth. Jiles, you are seeing this book attack, and what do you do?
I'm going to say this wasn't my fault, and I'm going to try to hit the book with my staff.
All right, roll your attack.
All right. That's a 6 on the die, so that is probably not good.
You said 6 a total?
Yes.
So your attack, it wrapped against the side of it, and it seems like it just does nothing, except in response to you wrapping against its cover, the other books begin to kind of lunge towards your direction again, just furiously slamming against the chains. The book gets its turn in round robin. Well, I guess we should allow our NPCs to take their turn. So Girthwood sees this book attacking you, and he throws himself into battle, finally excited to have something that he could meet with his axe, and slams it down, and actually gets a solid hit. Go him. The axe bites down and it cleaves out, ripping out several pages. The book still gnashes its cover as if it is defiant against the trivial loss and is still focused on trying to go through Abernathy's head. Scarson takes out his sword and he tries to take a stab at it. Lashes out. Also hits. Well, gets a huge slash against it. He chops off half of the back cover, spilling out what looks to be like an appendix that floods the floor in lots of shredded tables of contents. The book howls and wails. It takes a breath and then goes back to trying to bite through you, Abernathy. And it fails, and that is disappointing because I would have loved for this to try to take a bite out of you. It snaps at you, and you can just hear something very hungry echoing from the center of the book, as if it flaps open its pages and you see dark voids kind of hiding between some of the pages. Abernathy, what do you do?
All right. I guess I will pull out my trusty I still have that dagger from episode 0, right? You gave it to the group.
I put your dagger.
You did not. You said I had my weapons on me and that it would not count. I counted the dagger as a weapon.
I guess you are right, so I will stick with what I said. So yeah, you still have your dagger.
All right, verbal contract. I stab it with the dagger I was given by the devilish guy at the bar.
All right, make your attack.
That's rolling a d20 to attack, right?
That's correct.
And I want to be under things, right?
No, so we are doing ascending AC on this one, so you're going to roll high.
Fantastic.
It makes more sense when you have Thaco and you're using like a 2-hit matrix because you're hitting down, and then almost all of your rolls are basically down, with the exception of save. So anyways, what did you roll?
I rolled a nat 20.
So that's good.
Yes.
And it also comes with your choice of toppings. That's good.
Sprinkles.
The toppings contain sodium benzoate. That's bad. Sorry, one of my favorite Simpsons references, Treehouse of Horrors. So you get a nat 20 against it. So I will let you have double damage. Before you roll, you can choose to multiply or roll twice.
Let's multiply. Not having this dagger on my character sheet.
That is a D4.
Thank you. All right, buddy, we're going to multiply. So you're going to do a 4, right? Right? You rolled a 3. That's close. I'll take it. 6.
So you take your dagger and you ram it through its spine. You hear the sounds of binding snapping and glue shattering as you drive it through its core. It gives a pathetic whimper and mewl before it dies limply, its pages fluttering and closing around your blade. The rest of the books lay silent with that.
Yeah. Well, I like books more than I like moths, so...
Yeah, maybe we should go.
The more you know.
All right, which exit?
Damn it. I should have gone with, but don't take my word for it. I really
That being said, Are you wanting to investigate the large machine in the back of this room or move on?
I vote. Charles votes for the machine. We have neutralized the threat in this room, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, I'm in for that.
Who's going out to inspect the machine?
I nominate Giles.
It's because of the moth thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mhm. Also,
Turns out it is.
I just went first, so it's your turn.
Mm,
Go on.
I mean, I did look at the door when we got. Okay, I'll go look at the machine.
So you see, when you look at this thing, that those giant gears and cogs that are grinding ahead of you, the big steam pipes and the boilers next to it, it's making loud hisses and creaks and clicks and churns and grinding, and that glass in front of you, almost housed within a box. It's a greenish black, like a deep, dark sea, and there's a blinking light within, as if it is almost like a finger blinking. In front of this weird glass box is a grid of bone tiles. They are marked with letters alphabetically from A to Z, and then a row at the bottom with numbers from 0 to 9. Above that, there is a little slot and a little piece of paper that is sticking out.
I will pluck the piece of paper and see what it says.
You pull it and there's nothing on it. It's just you pull and there's just white paper coming out of it.
Oh, okay.
It is
I
the
thought it was
whitest, cleanest paper you've ever seen.
So letters A to Z, and then numbers 0 to 9.
Correct.
And tiles. Okay. I don't know what to make of this. I'm gonna look back at the rest of them.
I can't read.
I was just talking out loud. I'm kind of just processing everything, trying to figure out it. Your scales look lovely.
Do you think it's the Dewey Decimal System?
They haven't used that for years. Yeah, I know. Moving the tiles around, like the numbers and the letters, does it seem to do anything with that blinking light?
What are so are you trying to move, like pick up a tile?
Yeah, I'll pick up the 0.
So you try to pick it up and it's firmly attached, but you can click it down, and when you click it, you see that glass screen behind you makes a 0 mark.
Okay.
As you are looking at this, what are the other two of you doing?
Stabbing at the book repeatedly.
Scrax.
I'm searching around the room to see if there's anything of value.
Okay, do me two things. Roll me a D4 and a D20.
Always with the D4s and the D20s.
You're welcome.
Okay, where did that go? Blood spatter. Okay, that is a 3 on the D20 and a 2 on the D4.
Okay. It's 6. So, as you are searching this room, you find, kind of hidden in a bookshelf, a porcelain doll. It looks vaguely humanish from its round, dumb features. When you get a feeling of being watched, you see, kind of hiding behind the machine and one in the corner, are 3 of those robed figures, except this time the robe is gray. They seem to be a little bit anxious and fearful of you, and kind of cowering.
Hey, dudes, there's some more of those robe guys over here, but they seem like wusses, so.
I don't know. Bring one over here so that maybe they could tell us what's going on with this. As I'm typing in Jiles the Bland, apprentice, and Ward 2, Adorius the Blue, master of the mystical arts, wielder of powers known and unknown, co-founder of the Council of Five, the mightiest wizards in all the land. Type.
Can I try to catch one of the little robed figures?
I'll handle that. And with the entering in that Jiles. As you type in Jiles and that, anything else you're typing with it, or are you hitting like, or just letting it be?
I'm just gonna let it be.
The screen blinks, and it comes back with you hear like the gears start to spin and turn every time you click a button, and by the time that you have entered that in, there's been lots of movement in general. The screen turns black, and then you hear the sounds of a quill scratching on paper as that little paper begins to push out on its own accord. And you see it written in fine script is data contradictory. So, Scrax, you are pursuing those three little gray figures, it sounds like, yes?
Yes.
Okay. So, how are you approaching them?
Well, I'm pretty sneaky, so I'm going to stealthily sidle up to. You said they're behind a bookcase?
Two of them are hiding behind the giant machine, and one is kind of hiding in a corner in between two bookcases.
I'm going to go for the one in the corner by itself and just kind of sneak in there and try to, like, grab it with my arms.
Okay. So it looks at you, and it sees like you can see like its face is completely obscured, and yet you can see like two eyes underneath it that seem very knowing, watching you, and you know it knows, like you know that it knows that you know that it knows that you're trying to capture it. Do you still follow through?
Yes, I have no shame.
Okay. Then okay. Roll me a save versus spells.
Oh, and I know what my save versus spells is. Hold on 1 second. Let me get that back. 6.
So with saving throws, you want to roll over or equal. Do you roll over or equal?
Hey, I'm trying to figure out where my saving spells are.
So is your first... I can look it up for you.
Oh, wait, I found it. Spells. Okay, magic wand, spells.
That's 15. So you
I should probably roll a d20. Hold on.
What?
I know. Hey, check that out. It's a blood spattered 20 that time.
Okay. So you approach this figure. It puts out its hands and it speaks some words that feel like it cuts through you with blades made of ice. And you feel a tugging coming from within your chest. But you have such a strong, resolute sense of self, and you hold on to the thought of Basiliscus, and you shrug off whatever the effect is. The creature kind of looks dumbfounded, and then abjectly afraid as you make your capture attempt. Go ahead and make me a strength check to capture it.
13. And my strength's a 14.
Yeah, okay. So you grab this figure. It's about 4 feet tall, hunched over and scrawny, skin pallid as if it hasn't seen natural light in millennia. The other gray-robed figures look at one another, gesticulate wildly, and then dip behind the bookcases and disappear.
And I'm gonna hold this little robe figure like you do a cat, like a baby cat, like
Just
that.
scruff
as
it?
yeah, no, like in my arms, cradling it, and go over to show the dudes what I've got. Hey, check it out! I caught one.
Nice work.
I find this demeaning.
Are you jealous?
No, why would I be jealous of that? That's look, shut up. Shut up.
That's fair.
No, it's not. Nothing is fair. Anyways, hey fella, hey guy. Why did this book attack me? Shakes the book still attached to the dagger.
It doesn't say anything, but it peers its face out from underneath the hood, and it is hideous. It looks like the creature from Basket Case. His face is just malformed, this blobular in general, just as if you had taken a normal human head and held its face to wax in a way, and then mushed it back together. It regards you with these large, bulby eyes, and it just frowns and looks at you defiantly. It looks down at the ground as if to suggest to let it go.
We're not letting you go until you start answering our questions, little man.
One eye bulges out a little more, and that one bulging eye just looks down at the ground while the other eye is still fixed squarely on you, and then it rotates back towards Scrax.
Come on, speak up, Peter Lorre.
We're not gonna hurt you. We just want to talk.
Correction, they're not gonna hurt you.
He can't reach you up here.
Ouch. Burn. Think I have some healing salve in here for that burn.
Mm-hmm.
It speaks, and again, it is the rustling of too many papers dumped down a gusty, voluminous hall, and it says, "I will not speak to ones who have burned and stabbed books. You must release me now."
But you just did, and it attacked us first.
It shrugs and it says, "I think I have been more than patient in this respect."
I'm gonna hand this dude to Jiles.
What the hell am I gonna do with it?
In his hand, he was just about to do this. He thrusts out one of his scrawny arms, and it maybe has one extra joint, or maybe it was a broken arm at one point that rehealed weird, and it shoves its hand out towards you, Abernathy, and its tips of his finger are this green coruscating energy that coalesces as a dart and flings towards your head. Roll me a d6.
One.
All right. Well, you take 1 point of damage as a magic missile skewers you through the cheek.
Through the cheek? All the way through, or just
more just through like this, because it only was 1 point.
Okay. So it's joke's on you, motherfucker. Now I'm gonna look more badass.
It's true.
Am I able to hand him off to Jiles?
I don't want him. No. What?
Make me a strength check, Jiles, as you're during this handoff.
God. Well, and I've got my staff in one hand too, so
Make you a little wizard baby Bjorn. You could just put him in.
That was a 17.
So he bucks and kicks, sensing his moment to be free, and runs full tilt towards the nearest bookcase. He pulls it aside and he steps behind it, pulls it behind him, and disappears.
Well, I hope we all learned a very valuable lesson about burning and stabbing the books.
Yeah, don't get caught.
Librarians
Yeah.
are dicks.
So what else do you do with this giant machine or anything else in the room?
Did it ever? What did it spit out when we put your name in there? Just like a contradiction found or something.
Something to that effect, yeah.
Hey, what's the title of your fancy book?
As one quick step back, when you're that title, is that title actually real and honorific and applied to you, or is it just bullshit?
As far as I know, it is what Adorius is told me I need to say when I introduce myself. So
then here's the question. Outside of that, is that real or is that bullshit?
Personally, I think it's bullshit, but
then the data contradictory output stands. When you were saying fancy book, were you referring to the book that was thoroughly stabbed?
No, the one in his bag with the jewel in it.
Oh. Was there any writing on it, or just the jewel and the clasp in it?
Just in it, just that decorative motifs of learning.
I mean, have we tried an obvious just typing in knowledge or something?
Type in your mama jokes. Let's see if it knows any good ones.
I think I'm gonna type in oh gosh, where'd I have it written down? Being as we have that package for Ignis, I believe it was. Can I type in Ignis and see if something happens?
It says data confirmed.
What data is confirmed and what is going to happen?
Nothing else happens.
Cool. Well, I got confirmation, so that's a plus.
Roll me D4, if you will, Jiles.
Okay. That's a 3.
So from the corner of a room, you see 3 of those gray robe figures kind of step out from behind a bookcase. There's a red one that joins a second later. For 4 of them, they look to be discussing and are pointing over in your general direction. Like the lot of you.
I think that one's a little sour that we held him like you held him like a baby, and
I was gentle.
I know.
I didn't even lick him.
Well, I mean, that's kind of a missed opportunity, but
I know, but these librarians are just too sensitive. I can't deal.
Should we talk to them or should we get out of here?
I mean, I could talk to them again. I have great rapport with these guys.
I can tell. Yeah.
Roll me.
Yeah, get up there.
Abernathy, before you do that, roll me a D20.
We're looking for my D20, rolling it now. 7.
Okay. All right. So, as you are, what is your plan to talk to them?
Just get up there. Try and win over the crowd. Do
a type 5.
Charm the audience, as it were.
Okay. So, as you are approaching them, where is that? one of the gray ones pulls out a cylindrical bottle from underneath his cloak, and there is a gray swirling substance. You're pretty sure you saw a face kind of floating in the bottle, and the other ones in gray robes are pointing towards you. You still going up there?
I find this more intimidating out of the game than I feel like my character would find it.
Okay. What do you say to them as you approach?
Hey guys, I feel like we got off on the wrong foot here. We're a little lost. See what? Do you have a map? Do you have like one of those things where it's like a little touch screen where it can be like you are here and you want to get to this store in the mall and here's the best path and we're essentially what we're trying to do here is we need to get to where were we going again, guys? Gang, compadres.
You're doing great.
We have to make a delivery. Maybe they could give us some directions.
Yeah, we're basically like a courier service. You ever watch Futurama? I feel like.
Ever watch Futurama? Have you ever watched Futurama?
It doesn't exist.
You know, you take enough mushrooms in a fantasy world, eventually you just watch everything.
Valid.
So the one in the red robe looks at you and says, "You have been accused of setting a fire within the library. And this has been substantiated. You have assaulted library staff and caused damage. And you make demands of us."
I mean, demands?
I'm asking for directions. Is that a demand or a courtesy? Do you want us in your library? I don't think you do. I think you want us out.
That is true. So they look at you. One of them knocks on the side of the bookcase, and a little figure in a black robe steps out. And they say, "You are not welcome right now. He will show you how to leave if you want to leave gracefully."
That might hinder our delivering of the package if we're being escorted out. You're definitely losing your library card too, Abernathy.
Mm-hmm.
Joke's on them. I only came here to to rent their CDs and then take them home and rip the songs onto my computer as MP3s and load it onto my Zune. Not that those things matter
or exist.
Is there a second option where we could just finish what we're supposed to do and then get out of here?
They look at the lot of you, and the one is still holding the flask, as if contemplating to throw it. The red one talks to the black one in a language you can't quite tell what it is, but it sounds like a bunch of quills scribbling over too much paper, and they say, "Restitution could be in order. You pay a fine, and we will forgive this one infraction to cover the costs of the damage incurred."
How much is the fine?
100 gold.
Let's see. I've got.
Doesn't the party have that? Like our per diem that we negotiated for?
Yeah, that was our payment for delivering this. So we're basically going to be doing this for free. Could Abernathy stay and do like community service to work it off, or or come back later, or say we're gonna come back later?
I
and
am
then
not the
come back?
one that set the fire. I don't know why I am the one that has to do the community service
It's because
here.
you stabbed the book.
The book was attacking me. This was in self-defense. Look, I will agree to pay the damages towards the book. What's the book?
You burnt an entire bookshelf.
I did not set that fire. My things were attacked by rust moths who ate my barrel and exposed the oil. I didn't do that. That wasn't my intention. I'm not the one throwing torches all willy-nilly.
I wouldn't have had to toss the torch if, Captain Dingus over here hadn't angered the moths.
Looking back at Scrax or Scars. Oh, wait, no, it was me that. Yeah, well, the moth was in my face. It was an accident. Why do you guys have moths in here, anyways?
The moths were not harming the books. We did not care.
Valid point. Again,
Yeah, fair.
I have agreed to cover the cost of the damage to the one book I did stab. What do I owe you for the book?
They look over at the book with a dagger sticking out of it.
Oh, I pulled the dagger out, put it in my pocket, or sheath it, or whatever.
The librarians discuss and we did not add that to the tally. 125 gold is the fee.
I will pay them the 25 for the book.
Giles, how
Yes.
much money do you have?
Hmm. I've got a little bit. I really don't think I did anything wrong in this whole situation.
Yeah, me either, but I still paid my 25 gold for the book.
You stabbed the book.
And it wasn't wrong of me to do that, but here I am paying them what they want.
Reluctantly, I'm going to shell out 25 gold.
So wait, then that's because I've only got 49 gold, guys. So
Oh, that's way more than I
big
had.
spender, 49 gold. I only have minus 25. I only have 20.
Well,
You have 20?
Currently.
Girthwood has 1.
Yeah.
well, what's our drow friend packing? Because they're usually wealthy, right?
44.
All right,
Just
I'll
saying.
give all my gold.
We're getting off light. This is way better.
They look at a lot of you, and the one in the red shakes a very scrawny fist and says, "Don't let me catch you setting fires," and he starts to slip into some weird language, probably cursing and then giving examples of behavior you shouldn't be in. And then with that, the one in the black robe taps him on the shoulders, pulls behind the bookcase, and they all kind of step back in the shadows. You see, the last thing is that face within that jar staring at you, almost pleading for help as they step back in and disappear.
I thought you were gonna show us how to get to our way out.
The one with the black robe pokes at him and is "Oh, I said if you wanted to leave gracefully, I would give you an exit right now. I thought the rest of you said you wanted to stay and do your courier business."
Right. Would the exit be towards our end destination?
I am not at your beck and call.
I am as a favor, please.
He laughs and points down and says, "Deeper," and then closes the bookcase behind him.
Well, I have to say that went rather well.
It could have been worse.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still all alive and have most of our metal objects.
Yeah, you have most of your metal objects.
Yeah.
Looks at rope and water sack. Looks back at you. Yeah, it's great. It's been a fantastic day.
How is your cheek, by the way?
Oh, this, and that's what he turns and like gets like the light catching him just right where he looks like a supervillain. He's like, it's fine.
I'm sure that's nothing to worry about too.
No, I'm sure that's gonna be perfectly fine. Great.
Other actions you would like to do in this space?
I think we would just like to get out of this space and move on with our quest. I think we've done enough damage in this space.
We need to go deeper.
This is
All
why we
right.
should be left alone.
Yeah.
Only John or other Charles were here to help us out.
Okay.
The cats that need hurting.
Then in that case, we'll put a pin in here for next week as you descend deeper and leave the blinking, glowing glass of this strange calculation engine behind you.